Hello, and welcome back to part two of No Gallbladder, No Peace, the mental and spiritual costs no one talks about. We've been talking about the constant anxiety, fatigue, and digestive issues that aren't just random symptoms, but signs of a nervous system depletion. So, in today's episode, we will finish up what we started talking about and go into some amazing healing stories. So, we're going to learn how to switch on that calm and heal switch and how to reduce stress and anxiety and help our body to settle down and really get back to work. Let's start retraining our bodies to feel safe, calm, and whole again.
Gallbladder gone. Now what? Let's heal from the inside out.
Welcome to Gallbladder Gone? Now what? The podcast for Christian women navigating life after gallbladder removal. Hosted by Jami McQuivey, holistic nutritionist, wife, boy mum, grandma, and a firm believer in God's design for lasting health. Did you know that over 1.2 million Americans have their gallbladders removed every year, and that the majority of them are women? Even more eye-opening is that all gallbladder issues are digestive issues, and poor digestion is at the root of up to 80% of all disease, including hormone imbalances and weight struggles. While Jami isn't a doctor and this podcast isn't medical advice, she shares real solutions rooted in research, experience, and God's Word. Let's get practical, biblical, and real, one step at a time.
The third point is unforgiveness, bitterness, and suppressed emotions can manifest in the gut and cause that parasympathetic nervous system to go haywire. So there was something I did years ago. I heard of it. It's called the ACEs test, ACE, and it stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. And so there was a study that found links between early emotional wounds and chronic illness, including things like IBS and anxiety and Crohn's and, all of these digestive issues. And so when I think it's like 10 questions or something, and I scored incredibly high. I scored 8 out of 10, I believe. And so I was like, no wonder my body's like absolutely always in chronic flight or fight. And I have chronic digestive issues and I had chronic disease going on. And then, but the question is, okay, well, what do I do from there, right? And we're going to talk about that. So again, continue to hang in with me. I'm getting there. I'm just laying the foundation. I'm giving you your why. Okay, so when we have stored trauma, it can dysregulate the nervous system and affect the enteric nervous system, so that gut-brain axis. And so when we're unforgiving or bitter or have these emotions, it's not just something that we can ignore, right? So in Ayurveda and Chinese medicines, all his traditional healing systems, the liver and gallbladder are seen as the seat of anger and frustration. So when these emotions build up over time, they can manifest physical symptoms like digestive issues, pain, gallbladder attacks, but simply removing the gallbladder does not remove the emotional root of the situation. So we've talked about it even just takes away, it doesn't fix the digestive problem either. It just takes the pain trigger away. So now we have continued poor digestion. Now the liver is working harder, and now we have emotions that are getting exacerbated because we're not dealing with them and they're unprocessed. So it continues to contribute to this dysfunction of being unprocessed, right? So true healing requires us to support the body and release what's been weighing on the heart as well. So yes, this podcast is going to be a lot about food and therapies, but it's also going to be a lot about emotion and heart. And so, just like I said in the beginning, the merry heart doeth good like a medicine. And um, right now, currently, as I'm speaking to you, my mom is really struggling with her liver. In fact, they were going to put her on hospice a couple weeks ago. Um, and she's doing a lot of internal work as well as cleansing. And now she's starting to get stronger. So we're very hopeful. But one of the things that kept coming up at this cleansing center was how much deep-seated anger she has, and she was learning to process. So I can tell you from firsthand experience, my own, and from my mother and from my clients, how much we need to, and what a valuable act it is to truly and deeply and emotionally and cellularly forgive. And there's ways to do that. So hang in there. We'll get there, but we need to absolutely process this. Okay, the fourth thing that can cause issues, and again, this is a chicken or the egg thing, is nutrient deficiencies from impaired digestion also dysregulate the mood and mind. So this can be malabsorption. So here we're back to poor digestion, um, is causing malabsorption of things like B12, iron, zinc, magnesium, protein, and omega-3s. And these can lead to brain fog, panic attacks, fatigue, and in one episode we talked about SIBO, H. pylori, all of those things. And low stomach acid, if these go undetected, they can also sabotage nutrient uptake. So we have again this happening that we really do need to um, take care of the digestive system so we can get our spiritual mental peace back as well as our physical peace. Now, with the malabsorption of iron and B12, those are things that I had. And it was interesting because before I really worked on my digestion, I was taking B12. I was even getting B12 and iron shots, and it wasn't moving. The I just wasn't getting better. And um, so when I really started working on my digestion and actually started um, doing a lot more greens and greens with lemon every day, then suddenly my B12 came up to normal. And I actually don't eat lots of meat, but when I was eating meat, I was B12 deficient, I was iron deficient, and now that I eat a lot less, maybe once a week, now I have good iron. Now I have good B12. And my protein levels are amazing. And I just got my blood tests, and my doctor's like, everything looks fantastic. So I'm really excited about that. But you have to fix the digestion. Can't just take supplementation. All right, so in traditional cultures, bone broth, bitters, fermented foods, and fasting supported both the physical and emotional health. So absolutely, we're going to be working on, the traditional things that I've talked about in past podcasts, but I will continue to talk about. So when I talk about this with my clients, it's so interesting because my program that I'm going to talk to you about, it starts off with a principle of temperance. And that means not finding the balance between things. And then at the end, there's the seventh principle is a spiritual principle. And I use these to bookend because we start out and people aren't ready to hear. They want to dive into the food and the therapies and all of these things, which we do. And then they finally get it towards the end at what an important component spirituality is. So my clients report that learning the nervous system regulation through breath work, prayer, and activating the nervous system, the vagus nerve, helps digestion improve, and even have had symptoms completely disappear within a week or two. So that has been amazing. They've noticed bloating and constipation, nausea disappear after releasing emotions and practicing forgiveness. Some clients also discover that their depression symptoms were just nutrient deficiencies. So when we fix their digestion, all of a sudden their B12 or their iron comes up and they're like, wow, I feel dramatically better. And also, many people get rid of their IBS and anxiety, and with just a few minutes of regulation that I'm going to be talking about. So, 5 ways to restore that people talk about a lot, and then I'm going to give you my favorite way. So, the first one is deep breathing. And if you can get into a pattern of deep breathing all day, every day. So when you start practicing 5 or 10 minutes a day, you actually start to notice when you're holding your breath. So when you're holding your breath at a stoplight because you're late and you're trying to get somewhere, you suddenly go, oh, remember to breathe. That deep breathe, relax the shoulders, relax the belly. Another thing that happens that I suggest doing for people is singing or humming. And it's something that we've forgotten to do, right? So um, I like to hum around the house or go on a walk and hum. Even if I put on a song, I like to hum it out. And that starts to regulate that vagus nerve. The next one is cold water splashes on the face or ice baths. I love ice baths when I'm feeling frazzled and out of touch. And I say I love ice baths. I actually don't. I actually really, really don't like ice baths, but I like how they make me feel afterwards. And so I'll go if I'm just can't get, had a stressful day or something's going on, I'll go do a quick ice bath, and that can really just support that vagus nerve. The next one is gentle movement. And that can be yoga, it could be walking, it could be stretching, starts to bring you back into your body. And the last one, I'm going to kind of talk about two things, which is put together as a prayer and meditation. So we talk about prayer is when you talk to God, meditation is when you listen. And so there is a a scripture, Psalms 46:10, that most everybody knows. It says, "Be still and know that I am God." So in that stillness, the body heals. In that stillness, the nervous system regulates and the vagus nerve is restored and calmed. So how do I practically do this? So when we are so many people talk about exercise and that we should be exercising daily, but they don't really talk about exercising the mind daily. And yes, I'm not talking about, crossword puzzles and things like that. What I'm talking about is retraining your brain to think differently, to feel differently. And I will be doing a podcast on this soon about how what we think affects how we feel, and how we feel affects how we act. And so oftentimes we want to change our actions. And so we keep trying to change our actions. But if we don't know what feelings are driving those actions, we can't change them. And if we don't know what thoughts are driving those feelings that are driving those actions, then we're just at a loss and we keep doing the same things over and over. So, one of my favorite ways to retrain the brain is with scriptures and something called mala beads. So mala beads have 100, they're this necklace that's been used by, I think, like Catholics have their prayer beads, and mala beads are used by monks and some Taoists. And so I'll put a link in the show notes for my favorite set of mala beads. And they have 108 beads on them. And so they're divided, right, into, I think, does that make 22 or something? I can't remember. 108 divided by 4, whatever that is. And so what I've done is I've put together, and I have used this for years and given it to clients, and they love it. And it's a set of scriptures that it goes with the alphabet. So a merry heart is medicine. B, it is better to give than to receive and brings greater joy. So these are things that I have trained my mind. I know A through Z. And then with that, the second set I do is a kind of mantras that match those scriptures. So then the third part is I do gratefuls, the third section of the beads. I'm thankful for this. I'm grateful and really let myself feel that gratitude. And the fourth part is just the breath, the in and out, one breath for every bead. And so, what this does is this retrains the brain, it regrows those neural pathways in the brain to expect these things to be true. We want to know that God is for us always. We want to know that um, that we can be blessed and that we're nurtured and that our bodies are amazing. And these are what these scriptures will say. So in the show notes under the the link for resources and PDFs, I will be putting this there so you can print it off. You can get some mala beads. You don't even have to use mala beads, but it's just easier to focus with them. And start retraining your brain now. Start getting that vagus nervous system regulation in place every day. It's an exercise we do every single day. Um, and commit to maybe 30 days, right? And then we can, play it and change it up. You can do it more or less often, but I suggest doing it every day. So when I was doing this with my clients, she was doing the 7 principles to heal digestion, manage weight, and balance hormones. And she was doing good. She was hanging in there. When she first started working with me, she had severe digestive issues. She was only 23 years old. She couldn't work. She was vomiting all the time. She was having dizzy spells. She was extremely weak. And we were working and we really couldn't find out what was going on. So I suggested and I started talking to her about her faith and changing the way she thinks so she can balance her nervous system. And she did. And so this is one of the ways that you can do this. But this is her testimonial. She sent this to me and I just love it. She goes, Miss Jami, she's Southern. Miss Jami, I got a new phone and basically deleted my entire old life. I can't wait to tell you about it. God has healed every single inch of my soul. I'm just completely new, and I still think about you all the time and how much you helped me. But Jami, I think about you so much, and I love you for everything you did to encourage me and help me to grow. And I'm telling you, Jesus has completely changed me. Like, I can't even believe that it's only been several months. It's like the fears that crippled and controlled my life are just dust. They're all gone. My body is new, and I turned the knob. I just want you to know that I love you and I'm so grateful for you. Emmy. She did the work, and I was just so grateful to be able to point her in the right direction. So she is back to work. She's back to being young and living her life and dating and doing all these amazing things. And I'm just so proud of her. So this is a wrap on today's episode. So you'll find this information in the PDFs, the extra videos. So hit the link in the show notes. So today you have learned a lot about the vagus nervous system, why it's important, and how to heal and reconnect it. I was just like you, overwhelmed by health advice and these big words, vagus nerve, autonomic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system. And so it's something I was bouncing between foods and didn't know what to do. So what I've done is I have created a DIY course, 7 principles to heal digestion, manage weight, and balance hormones. So please check that in the show notes. And remember, it is not another quick fix. It is a faith-informed step-by-step roadmap. And I would love to have you go through it And it matters because you matter. And you living your life to the fullest matters to me. So whether you've been diagnosed or newly diagnosed or post-surgery, this is just an amazing step to help you get your health back. Not from just before surgery, but from years before when these symptoms started manifesting, because we know they didn't start manifesting the week before you got surgery. We know it was probably years. And so tap the link in the show notes and move forward without the guesswork. And I will see you in the next episode. Um, and I hope you have happy digesting.
If this episode encouraged you or offered practical insight, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Leaving a review, subscribing, and sharing with even one friend helps more people discover this message, and Jami is truly grateful for your support. Be sure to check the show notes for free downloads, helpful resources, and a link to join Jami's private Facebook group for extra support and community that blends practical health with biblical truth. Just a reminder, Jami isn't a doctor, so always consult your healthcare provider before making changes to your health plan.